This morning I had a message from someone who said that they're a new driver, as in within the first year of having their driving license, and they've been caught by a speed camera doing 49 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone, asking what the likely punishment would be. Now, if you've watched my channel for some time, you'll know that it's never a straightforward answer. So welcome back, but if you're new to me, I'm a barrister who helps you understand law. So in this video, what might the punishment be if you're caught doing 49 miles an hour in a 30, having just got your driving license? So like most offences, speeding has its own set of guidelines set by the Sentencing Council, and they are known as the sentencing guidelines, in this case for speeding. There is a table that sets out the speed limit and then what recorded speed there is and what the likely punishment is going to be. But of course, it's never quite as straightforward as pick the point on the grid and that's the precise punishment. It always comes down to a number of factors. However, if we look at this grid for starters, we can look up this particular offence, which is speeding in a 30 limit zone. And if we look at the recorded speed over here, we can see that 49 falls right at the top end of this 41 to 50 bracket, for which the sentencing includes a Band B fine, which is the starting point of 100% of any relevant weekly income, but ranges up to 125% of the weekly income, as well as potentially points and a disqualification. And if I may interrupt the flow just for a moment, please remember to like this video. I'm coming up on 250,000 subscribers, 250,000 subscribers, and I have a bit of a celebration coming up. So please bop that subscribe button, bop the like button, and let's get on with the video. Now, whether or not you get a disqualification will depend on a number of factors. These we call aggravating and mitigating factors. Aggravating factors makes things worse. Mitigating factors make them slightly less worse. They don't make them better, which is what people think. They make it slightly less worse of a situation. We'll come back to those in a minute. The complication we've got here is that the driver is within the first year of driving, actually within the first 2 years of driving. The reason that is relevant is because if you accrue 6 points or more within the first 2 years of passing your driving test, or even on your provisional license, then your license will be revoked. So let's take a brief look at some of those aggravating factors and what those might be. Well, first of all, you might have previous convictions, and the court will have regard to the nature of the offence to which the conviction relates, and it's relevant to the current offence, and how long has passed since that conviction. Alternatively, it might be that this offence was committed whilst on bail. Other aggravating factors might include whether the offence was committed on licence or post-sentence supervision. That means you've been to prison and you're released on license and you're committing an offence whilst you're out in the public on license. It might also be aggravated by the road conditions or the weather conditions, depending on what type of vehicle you're driving, whether you're towing a caravan, whether you were carrying passengers, whether you were carrying a heavy load, how many passengers, what age those passengers were, whether you were driving near a school, whether there was lots of other traffic on the road. So you can see there's lots of other factors that go into this situation to determine whether or not these aggravating factors make worse the punishment that you would get without any of those factors being present. The only mitigating factors that really come into play with speeding, because it's normally fairly clear cut, include whether you have no previous convictions or at least no other relevant convictions, you are otherwise of good character and exemplary conduct perhaps, and potentially whether there is a genuine emergency. Let's say you were racing to a hospital to meet a relative before they pass. Not to say that that's okay, but it might mitigate the punishment against you. And of course, if you do run this as a mitigation, you'll be expected to produce some evidence. Otherwise, you'll be caught lying to the court, essentially. So taking all of those into account and looking back at the table, the options for the court are, as I say, a Band B fine, which you're likely to get together with any points and disqualification, and the court will certainly, in this case, consider disqualification between 7 and 28 days, or potentially in the alternative between 4 and 6 points. Being at the top end of this middle bracket, it's likely to be closer to or equal to 6 points. Now, here's an important distinction, because a disqualification is different from having your license revoked because of having 6 points within the first 2 years of driving. So in other words, the court may decide to disqualify between 7 and 28 days, or it might give up to 6 points. But if the court were to endorse the license with 6 points, the license will be revoked because the driver will have accrued 6 points within the first 2 years of driving. Now, of course, the court might consider a reduction for an early guilty plea and consider whether there was any personal injury, loss or damage in the process. If it was a straightforward speeding, not that that makes it okay, then the court will simply look at the aggravating or mitigating factors that I've set out. But either way, in this situation, a new driver being caught doing 49 in a 30 is quite likely, in my view, to be disqualified or to receive 6 points, in which case the license is going to be revoked. So I hope you found that useful. Please do remember to like this video and subscribe. I'll link the sentencing guidelines in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching.